Welcome to This Week in Missouri Politics on the most wonderful time of the year, election season. We have a full opinion maker panel for the whole show, starting with the former Speaker of the House, Rod Jetton. Welcome back to This Week in Missouri Politics.
Good to be here as always.
In a way, helped found This Week in Missouri Politics. Always grateful for the time.
Always good to be with you, sir.
Rudy Veit, Mr. Wardsville, Mr. Blair Oaks, state rep, running for state senate here in Central Missouri.
Just another challenge, but looking forward to it.
I love it. Chelsea Rodriguez. You're surrounded by Republicans. Not uncommon to you, but I figured if anybody could handle it, you could.
I'm excited.
And the guy, Marc Ellinger. When is the last time you lost a court case?
This week.
I don't know. It has been a long time since I've seen anybody go on a run like you and your terrific partner, Stephanie Bell, have been on. You guys have been winning, and it's like Trump said, winning and winning and winning and winning, winning. Congratulations. Thank you for making the time.
Glad to be here. Thanks, Scott.
Nice to catch you between victory laps. Income tax going on the ballot. It's essentially what they're going to do. You're going to get rid of the income tax. There is several states that are working on this, trying this. Missouri right now started at 6. They've been cutting it down to 4 something. They're going to go all the way to 0 and essentially replace that with a sales tax. Give me the case for it.
Well, first of all, the measure that's going to go on the ballot only requires the elimination of the income tax. Everything else is just ways it can be done. It doesn't require a sales tax expansion. It just authorizes the legislature to do it. There are other ways that the legislature could come up with revenue to replace the income tax revenue.
How would you do it?
You can look at utilities, you can look at data centers. I mean, there's a lot of options out there as our economy has grown and expanded in certain very small areas that can generate revenue. And you can get economic growth, and economic growth can help. But the long and the short of it is Missouri has not, and you said this a number of times, Missouri has not really been doing a great job of growing. Our economy is not growing fast. We're seeing corporate headquarters leave as opposed to come here. Our population, while it grows by a very small percentage, doesn't grow anywhere near as fast as a number of other states do. And if you look at the case, and don't look at Florida or Texas because they have beaches and oil, look at Tennessee. Yeah. There are 2 states in the nation that border 8 states. 2 states in the nation border 8 states, Missouri and Tennessee. St. Louis is almost the exact same size as Nashville. Kansas City is almost the exact same size as Memphis. In fact, Knoxville is almost the exact same size as Springfield, Missouri.
Really?
And that state is booming. It's growing.
You think that's what it is?
There's really kind of nothing else that defines it because they don't have anything else that we don't have. I mean, they have, people say, well, they have Nashville. It's a great city to live in. Well, it's a great city because businesses want to be there, which means people want to be there, which, once you get growth going, growth compounds upon growth.
See the sun for the cranes. Rod Jetton, I remember 2002, I'm graduating college, putting up Rod Jetton for state representative signs. This state has been stagnant for a quarter of a century. That quarter of a century has been ran by Republicans in the legislature, and half the time Republicans dominated the governor's office and the legislature. I know it's complicated. I get it. I respect the governor for taking on what is the biggest problem in this state.
Well, I think, Mark brought it up quite instantly. Something we kind of gloss over when we talk about stagnant, but actually I call it the Missouri revenue miracle. If you go back since they first started cutting the income taxes and you look at Social Security taxes, capital gains taxes, corporate income taxes, and the cuts from 6 to 4.7%, that's $2 billion a year we've taken off the plate each and every year in revenue. What's happened during that time? Revenues have actually gone up $4.7 billion annually. So for every dollar we've cut in taxes, income taxes mostly, we've actually brought in $2.5 more in state revenues. So whether we do sales tax or whatever is kind of inconsequential. If we just get rid of income tax like we've been doing and it just keeps going down, whether you want to do it fast by replacing it or whether you want to just let nature take its course, we're actually lowering our tax rate. Matter of fact, in 24, we were the #1 job producing state in the country by net average. So I don't know that it's been staggering. I think we've had some positive things going. And one of the reasons we have is because we've been cutting taxes.
Chelsea Rodriguez, this kind of comes back to some foundational points of government. You have Republicans think the less money you take from people, the more the economy grows. There's a different view of the world. It's that you reinvest in public, and that's how you grow.
Yeah, I think we've seen the last 20 years of this cut everything from public services to public education. There are rural schools that have been completely decimated, lost teachers, rural hospitals are completely gone. So I think we've seen the impact of divestment. And I think this income tax is just another way to get all of the revenue that we're bringing in that isn't hitting the bottom just back up, right? Because it's a percent of your income. If you make more, you keep more in your pocket. And anyone who's balanced a checkbook knows that you've got to pay for that somewhere. So if you're cutting that out, who's going to be hit? And I don't think it's the people they've been advocating for.
Rudy Veit, you have asked some very thoughtful questions about this as this went on through the legislature. Break this down as you see it. Is this good policy? We'll talk politics next. Is it good policy for the state?
No. But, you can throw all the numbers you want and that, but intellectually, you get out amongst my constituents and the people, they see it for what it is. Trust me, we'll figure out how we're going to raise all this money back. It's not a tax reduction, it's a tax reallocation, who's paying. And they look at, an unknown out there, and they see taxes growing on every sales tax, and you have a lot of people who really don't pay income tax. Veterans don't get taxed, retirees don't get taxed, and people making less income. And they see it as just another tax. You had the associated industries, saying it, even for small businesses, it could be another tax, because you have no idea what the government's going to do. And telling them to trust us, give up your constitutional protections you have now for these types of taxes, give up your protection you have from Hancock, forget all that, give that all up, and just, we'll do the right thing. The legislature will do the right thing. They don't buy it.
Rod Jetton, you're in the business of knowing what these voters think. I personally have so much regard for Mike Keogh taking this issue on.
Yeah.
This is kind of the plan. I remember on election night in 2002, it was maybe 03, up in northeast Missouri, John Cawthorn, I was with you. We took the majority. That meant the full legislature was majority Republican. This is the kind of stuff the Republicans dreamed about doing. Can you get it done, though? That's the politics of this seem a little tougher than the overall intellectual argument.
Yeah, it's a little tough. I mean, the candidates that I work with are telling me out on the doors, what Rudy's talking about. A lot of people are concerned about replacing that revenue. How do you replace it?
Was there a issue with putting this on in August as opposed to November? I will say this. I don't know that people see the urgency of the problem to go solve. I think the solution makes some sense. I'm not sure if folks that you're talking to, the Rudy, see the income tax as the biggest problem, although I think there's a good case to be made that it is. I'm not sure that case has been made to the public yet.
That's where I think the problem is. We're coming up with a solution, but the average voter doesn't know that there's a problem on there yet.
Yeah.
I think if they knew about how great the revenue story's been, the budget's doubled. I mean, we have the biggest education budget in state history the last 2 years. So more revenues come in, we're funding things better before. What's the number one program in the state now? Medicaid. I mean, we're spending more billions of dollars than ever before. So we don't have a problem with revenue since we cut taxes. We actually got more revenue. Now, we may have a little spending allocation problem, but we didn't create the problem. We're offering the solution. And I think if we just took a step back and talked about how great the solution has been in the past and what it's doing, we don't necessarily have to go in and do a reallocation of the taxes.
Now, Mark, you have a media that's never going to want to tell that story, right? I mean, exactly. they are all lock, stock, and barrel hating that story, and I'm not sure lie, but definitely shade the other way. I worry that you have to write that property tax check, and people are pissed about it. I don't think people see the income tax as that big a pain.
Yeah, but if you go through the process that's laid out in the amendment, what you'll end up with is property tax decreases. I mean, you have the opportunity for local governments.
I do not believe they'll cut property taxes. I think that it will never happen.
Local governments, if there's an expansion of the base, will see additional local revenues, and the constitutional amendment that's proposed bars them from getting a windfall from that, and specifically compels them to reduce tax rates. Well, they're compelled to reduce one of a couple types of tax rates, and most of those are property tax rates. But I think, to go to your media question, I think there's another element to this. Is the media is controlled by the left wing.
Sure.
The Democrat Party is controlled by the left wing. If you're a Republican and you're out there saying, I'm against Amendment 5, look at who you're aligning yourself with. That ought to be really concerning to me. As a Republican, if I'm out there in the same camp as the Post-Dispatch, the Kansas City Star, the Democrat leaders from Kansas City and St. Louis, and Bernie Sanders and the rest of the people in the far left Democrat Party, if I'm out there and I'm looking at that group, they've got to be wrong, because they haven't been right on a thing in 50 years.
Well, do you believe that your property tax will go down if this passes?
No, and that would mean you first have to raise enough revenue to replace all the income tax, because income tax goes first. And secondly is, how some be for Amendment 5 be a Republican. I was a Republican, campaign with Republicans far before you were born. And I know my constituents. My constituents are Republicans. They're not high multi-million-dollar Republicans. They're people out here making a living, worried about child care, worried about gas, worried about day-to-day meetings, and they don't want to see anything taxed. They may make a living.
You brought up a key point there in gas. Let me ask you this. You're actually, of the ones here, you're actually knocking on doors, talking to people. Let me ask you this. I think part of it is folks are tipped. I think they have a very low trust in government. Plus, we elected a Republican, said, I'm not going to get involved in foreign wars, I'm going to bring the prices up down. And then he got involved. Wouldn't it be nice one day, did you ever work for a Republican that didn't get involved in some screwy thing in the Middle East? I'm not sure I can ever remember one that could just,
Well, I know
just
one thing.
pretend it didn't
my
exist.
constituents are disillusioned with our government.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest problem is,
Right there.
I don't personally believe my property tax will ever go down. They'll find some way to screw me no matter what. I think folks here don't trust government. Jolie, I think folks, I don't think they trust government. I think that's a big part of this is, I have a hard time believing the local governments, with the only amount of money I've ever heard a local government ever say is enough is more. It's a Rod Jetton line I ripped up. I don't think anybody believes their private, even if it's in the law, I think they believe the government will screw me.
No, if you're
I believe
asking, if the question on the table is, are they going to pick this because because no, I'm sorry, I'm finding a difficult way to say no, absolutely not. To your point, Democrats, we are controlling whatever. We're not exactly popular or winning all over, especially states like this one, right? So you guys have done a really good job of beating the trust down on us, but now you've got a president on your own side actively destroying this economy. So I think that it's been disillusioned on both sides because now we absolutely do not believe that the people that are supposed to be representing us are out there fighting for us.
Did you almost fall off your chair from the good fortune of the president that was going to ignore all the Muslim terrorist stuff and the then went over and started a war for no reason and shot gas prices up to $4?
To the point of, I believe he promised no forever wars, right? And so government promises.
I don't want any Middle East wars. Just pretend they don't exist.
Right. I also don't want, I filled up my tank on the way here from St. Louis and it was $53 and that's insane.
Try driving an F-150. It makes me hate Trump quick.
Insane.
Mine's 36-gallon tank.
Trust me, I get anti-Trump real quick when I drive by that. I used to be anti-Biden, then I always loved Trump when I fill my truck up. Now, I ain't got a lot nice to say. I think he is orange. I think that may be a toupee now. That's how bad gas prices are.
I don't believe it.
Pisses me off.
No one believes it anymore.
All right, we better take a break so we can run some commercials and pay for my gas bill. We'll be right back with this opinion maker panel, and we'll try not to talk about Trump after this.
St. Louis Carpenters Union has shaped our communities. Through trusted alliances, we deliver skilled professional craftspeople while our business partners provide the kind of quality jobs that keep our economy humming. It's a blueprint that has worked since 1882. Turning Missouri into a right-to-work state stalls progress, wipes out jobs, and kills momentum. Right to work is wrong for everyone. Let's keep Missouri moving forward. Visit carpdc.org to learn more.
We have a severe weather alert to report here. The storm is also bringing the threat of damaging winds and large hail.
Here's the thing. When storms bear down, we step up.
Ready to begin?
You bet.
Our teams are always ready to keep your power strong. Ameren.com/poweron.
Missouri didn't build itself. For over 100 years, union laborers have built our beautiful state with skilled hands and hard work. As a union laborer, you don't just work. You earn money while you learn the trade. You could be making up to $40 an hour with top-tier benefits that will help secure the future you want. What are you waiting for? Build your career, build your future, build your legacy as a union laborer. Visit buildunion.com today.
Thank you, Representative Ron Fowler, for voting to create thousands of new Missouri construction jobs, millions in new classroom construction, and millions more for veterans. By truly listening to voters and requiring that all Missouri gaming machines must be regulated and taxed. Thousands of Missouri jobs are at stake. Over $100 million of annual school construction. $500 million more for schools, $50 million for veteran services. Just by enforcing the Missouri Voter Established Standard, replacing unregulated and untaxed illegal gaming machines with state-regulated and taxed video lottery terminals, delivering millions in new dollars to our schools for construction work statewide. It's the right thing to do for workers, students, and veterans.
In Missouri, we believe in hard work and property rights. Farmers understand their land best, and decisions about its use should remain personal. Solar projects provide steady income for farmers and communities. Changing rules after projects are approved creates uncertainty for landowners and businesses. We can protect rural values while welcoming responsible energy development. Common sense standards don't require shutting the door on opportunity. Respect farmers, respect property rights. Support policies that keep Missouri open for business.
That pet store with the cute puppies in the window? Know what they're really selling? Puppy mill cruelty. Horrible conditions, neglect, and those puppy mill puppies often develop serious health issues. Some even die in the store or shortly after purchase. You deserve to know the truth behind that cute pet shop puppy. Don't be fooled. They're selling cruelty and the lies to cover it up. Get the facts. Visit humaneworld.org/puppymills to learn more.
This race is really heating up. Jobs, investment, quality of life, it's all on the line. Tennessee is in front, Oklahoma and Arkansas close behind, blazing down the track now to phase out income taxes. Missouri is getting lapped. Income and property taxes are really holding Missouri back. And costing families. To take the lead, Missouri needs Amendment 5. This August, phase out taxes on paychecks and cut property taxes. X the tax and unleash prosperity with Amendment 5.
Welcome back with our Opinion Maker panel. We did get a prediction, I forgot. Give me a prediction, Rod. Does the income tax elimination pass?
Barely, and that's a lot of hope on my part.
He's got an optimistic yes. What do you think?
An optimistic no, and if we'd had a complete package, so that's one of the things that people talk to me about is why we didn't have a complete package. We're going to raise taxes how much and get a complete package.
I think they, instead of saying no, they said hell no if you gave them a complete package.
Well, but then they don't like buying, empty bag either.
This pass?
No, I think putting it on the August ballot and the amount of money put on both sides of the campaign is going to draw out more of your higher information voters, and once you're asking them to trust the government, the answer's going to be no.
What do you think?
If you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I'd say, yeah, I think it's going to pass. If you asked me after the Western District Court of Appeals pulled the consummate Democrat Party card, I'd say it's got problems.
IP reform. They kind of threw this together. It was one of the darkest days we've seen in the Senate. Like with no debate, they just PQ. It was honestly, I don't know what the senators got paid for that week. If they cashed those checks, they should have wore a ski mask to the bank. They put IP reform on the ballot. Now, Rod, it's a little challenging. The Republicans say IP reform is bad. IP process is bad. Then they put 18 things on the ballot under the IP process. I think this has some challenges cutting through the clutter. And even if it did, it feels like an uphill fight.
Well, it's an uphill fight because there's nobody that wants to fund the proponents to pass it, right? The only money out there is on the opposition side. We need it. We know we shouldn't be able to do the Constitution like we do that easy. It should be a little harder. But I think that's going to be a rough one to convince voters that, you're not quite smart as us. Let us take care of it. So I think it's going to have problems.
Really, I just always wondered, when y'all are on the House floor in caucus, and you're like, the IP system needs change, which I totally agree with. It does need to be a little harder to change the Constitution.
It needs to be made harder.
Does anybody say, well, why are we putting all this stuff on the ballot for the IP if we think it's bad? Why didn't you just change the process?
In the House?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's a lot of things that
we don't have an overall look at the whole scheme. In this petition, need to be. I mean, it's wrong the way it is. If 50% of people can change it.
I agree.
And there should be a higher standard. But what we on the ballot leave St. Louis City could kill everything else that everybody wants, and people that will be conveyed out there, and people are going to vote against it. But everybody agrees that I know that has been involved with, say, IP reform. I remember when I first came up here as legislator, I was talking to Governor Parsons, and this ought to be a high priority the very first year up here.
I've heard a lot of people say it's a high priority, but Chelsea, I think what's going to happen, this is the first time I can recall it's on the ballot. Again, no one steps up to fund this. I think there's a good case against it. It's easy to make. I don't see, number one, that ballot's going to have so much going on. I don't think it gets the time it needs. I also just don't know that you can make that case to take the power away from the folks to do that.
No, no one trusts the government right now. The ballot amendment process is how we've gotten nice things that like Medicaid expansion, and we've beaten back right to work at the ballot box. So like we need that. And of course, the Republicans who've held the supermajority in both legislatures for 20 years would like to take more power from us. I think that is just what this clearly is a power grab in the middle of more power grabs.
But let me ask you, I've always appreciated your ability to communicate. If you did put your pro hat on, what would you advise them as the pro message for this?
The pro message?
Yeah. Mark, the pro message. I actually think the IP process should be available to be used. Maybe it should be a little harder to put something in the Constitution than a statute.
So you have a state that's Republican. It votes Republican in general elections. So if you're going to make the argument you're going to make is we've passed a measure that takes away the government's ability to spend its money on health care in a way it deems fit and mandated unlimited federal expansion of Medicaid. We've created the most pro-abortion laws in all 50 states. And all of this is done because outside of the state, people fund these things. There's a big difference between the General Assembly passing something in the House, in the Senate, and putting it on the ballot, such as Parks and Soils, or even IP reform. Those are not initiative petitions. Those are legislative acts that every state does. That's how I think that's how every state has a way to amend their constitution, through the General Assembly.
The outsiders putting money in don't give a damn about us. You go to Eric Greitens, they tried to run off Andrew Bailey, our war hero. I'm with you. When the outside money comes in, they don't give a damn about us.
That's your pro message right there.
That's the pro message?
Who's going to pay to put that on TV?
That's the problem. There is nobody.
Give me a prediction. How much does this lose by?
Oh, it's going to lose. People are not going to want to vote to take away their own rights, which is what that looks like. It's going to lose by 10 points.
But if we just made it, 55% of the popular vote, that would solve most of the thing. And 55%, you wouldn't have the same argument to face.
Now, Rudy, let me ask you a question. As a guy that's actually sat in the General Assembly, I also think that if the folks put a statute in the books, it should be protected from the legislature for 3 years.
And that would
help.
It's
a fair trade-off. Yeah, I think that's a fair trade-off.
I would, you got to be able to, if there's a blatant mistake, you'd have to address it. But an ordinary thing, if a year or two before you change it.
Yeah. Even if it's a blatant mistake, you got to let it play out.
If you want to get one passed, it's going to take some compromise or giving on all sides. And I think we need one really passed, and something that's better than nothing. But this one here is basically eliminates your right to initiative petition.
How bad does it go down?
Oh, there's scholars who play in this game. That's above my pay grade.
Rod, be a bloodbath?
8 to 10.
I think maybe a little more. What are you thinking?
People are mad. They're getting madder every day.
That's the interesting part about this.
People are mad. They're hurting and they're mad and they're getting even madder, and this will be one of the first chances they get to stick it to someone, and so I think those people will show up.
We like to vote no in Missouri anyway. I think you're going to see a lot of ticked off folks that show up there. Anything you ask them, no. I think it may even take a very good thing in the soil and water conservation tax that maybe they have a hard road to hoe, because I think you're going to see a lot of folks ready to say a hard no.
But that was an initiative petition tax, wasn't it?
I don't know.
That was brought on by
soil.
All the things that have been done this year aren't bad. We're talking about Hancock and different things.
The one that's coming up was originally.
We used to love it back in the days, in the old days when we were in the minority. We liked it then, and the Democrats wanted to change it.
If you don't take the supermajority, you might not like this as much. Let me tell you something I think went over extremely well. There's a lot of stories in the press right now about the budget, which when you cut taxes, even if overall it grows, there's a lag in that. Missouri's in the lag. Hopefully it's a lag. Bill Owen was announced as going to be the new House budget chair. You've served with him. What a great pick by Alex.
What a great pick. He's level-headed. He's very knowledgeable. He looked at the overall scheme, and when talking with him and dealing with him, he's one of the number one who look at the collateral consequences of our bills. He'll talk to you about tax credits, and he'll talk to you about what's not popular, but
He's a banker. He's got experience in finance. Jolie, I tell you, it's an interesting thing. I do watch these Republicans, and they're like, well, revenues are down, the budget's upside down. Well, yeah, you keep cutting taxes, what happens?
Right.
And starting new programs.
Sure. Right. Revenues up through the roof. I think the auditor came out with a study today maybe, about that reserves decreasing over time. Again, we're going to have to pay for the nice things we have, like sidewalks and schools. we have been cutting from schools. We might still be spending a lot on schools, but it's not
The most ever in the history of the state, like the biggest budget ever.
I mean, maybe we should look at why that is, because we still are very behind in education, and we have rural schools being defunded, and we have,
That's a good point.
we have 4-day school weeks, and that adds another day of childcare to someone's checkbook balancing. So I think, while we've been having this government strip us to the studs to sell us for parts, I think at some point you've got to pay it back into the system.
Well, having a tight budget, though, does encourage us to be more efficient and less waste.
And Marc Ellinger, can you say you're going to cut taxes and you do it? Yeah, you're going to cut spending too.
You have to cut spending. The state has a problem with cutting spending. With all due respect to Chelsea, education's more than adequately funded in the state. It's just not spent properly. There's more dollars for education out there than we've ever seen before. We spend more per school district for pupil in school districts than we've ever spent before. And yet school districts are failing at their job. That's a failure of the government, of public education. That's not a failure of the taxpayers coming up with enough money. You have Medicaid expansion, we just talked about it. You've got the single biggest element of state government. The single biggest element of state government, which the legislature effectively has been told you have to fund. You don't get a choice.
But when we talk about
every time there's a problem in this state, nobody goes down and says, did government cause the problem? Before you start by saying, we need a government solution for the problem, and as a result, you're always spending more money.
With a minute left, who won the week?
I guess I'm going to have to say Curtis Trent. He got the Farm Bureau endorsement. He's gotten the congressman down there. I mean, every Republican conservative group in the state's endorsing him. He just adds one more to the tally.
His old boss, Billy Long, just got confirmed as ambassador to Iceland. And what more did you want?
Mine would be Bill Owens, and not for what he did today, but what he's done for the 8 years or 6 years he's been up there building relationships and level-headedness and open-minded. I mean, the Democrats can sit down with him and agree with him on a lot of things, too.
This is said with so much respect because you're Joe. Seriously, like respect. But the voters won when Mark lost the court battle for Amendment 5 and rewriting that ballot language. It's much clearer and it makes a lot more sense to the voter.
Catherine Hanaway won the week. She got settlements in Kratom. She's now got more and more impetus to get rid of the illegal slot machines.
Maybe that's how you'll balance the budget. Catherine wins the lawsuit.
I think Catherine's really had a good week.
I've got to say, Kelton, go ahead and play the tape from the congressional softball game. Missouri's own favorite son, Eric Schmidt, making the play of the game.
That one struck to left field, and what a dive! Oh, what a great Eric play. Schmidt. Amazing catch down the left field. The Redbirds would be proud of a play like that. Look at the nose. Wow, and he roughed himself up here a little bit.
Look at that. He not only won the congressional softball game, he won the MVP award, and he won the week. Congratulations to Eric Schmidt, the first guest here on Let's Look at Missouri Politics. Hope you'll join us next week for a good campaign edition of TWMP.
This Week in Missouri Politics is brought to you by the Missouri Automobile Dealers Association, Ameren, Spire, Evergene, and the Missouri Association of Career Fire Protection Districts.